Chapter 10. The Physiology of Physical Activity. Chapter Objectives cover the key features of the sub-discipline of physiology of physical activity and employment opportunities available to exercise science professionals. Explain how physiology of physical activity fits within kinesiology, and review the history and development of physiology as physical activity as a sub-discipline. Also identify the research methods used by kinesiologists working in exercise physiology, and examine how the body responds to physical activity and how these changes relate to physical performance and health. The goals of exercise physiology are to understand how to enhance physical performance, understand how to improve physical function in altered environments, such as those characterized by high temperature or high altitude, understand how physical activity and exercise improve health and fitness, understand how exercise can be used in treating and preventing disease and alleviating symptoms of disease, and understand adaptations in physiology and pathophysiology in response to physical activity. What is physiology of physical activity? The study of acute or immediate physiological responses to physical activity and the changes in physiological responses to chronic or repeated over time physical activity. Exercise physiologists apply principles of biology and chemistry to understand how the body responds to physical activity. This serves as the foundation for conditioning, fitness, and rehabilitation programs. Often referred to as exercise physiology, this is, along with the biomechanics of physical activity, a subdiscipline of the biophysical sphere. Why use physiology of physical activity? To enhance sport performance and training, to improve physical fitness, to promote health and treating diseases with physical activity, and to understand physiological changes from physical activity. The health effects of moderate physical activity. Moderate physical activity is beneficial in reducing the risk of chronic diseases such as heart disease, diabetes, hypertension, and colon cancer. There are significant research findings linking physical activity and health. What do exercise physiologists do? They are university professors, researchers for the military or NASA, corporate fitness or hospital-based wellness programs, clinical exercise physiologists who are employed by hospitals in cardiac rehab programs, exercise instructors, personal trainers, strength and conditioning professionals, or specialization professionals. The history of physiology of physical activity. The early beginnings evolved from physiology, and such scientists as Lavoisier and Laplace, Auguste Croix, and Hill. Early laboratories in the 1920s through 1940s were at Harvard and their fatigue lab, Springfield College, and the University of Illinois. The 1950s found Morris coronary heart disease in England, studying stimulated research in the epidemiology of physical activity, fitness, and chronic disease. In the 1990s, the National Institute of Health and Surgeon General reports identified physical activity as a major risk for cardiovascular disease and identified moderate levels of regular physical activity as conferring significant health benefits. Research methods for physiology of physical activity include ergometers, treadmills, leg and arm cycles, and swimming flumes, methods of oxygen intake, uptake, body composition, biochemical methodology, animal models, and fieldwork. The overview of knowledge in physiology of physical activity includes how physiological systems, such as cardiovascular, muscular, and respiratory systems, respond and adapt to physical activity, factors that influencing physiological responses, such as temperature, diet, and altitude, and the relationship among fitness, activity, and health. Skeletal muscles. An overview of this area identifies topics such as muscle fiber types, muscular strength versus muscular endurance, adaptations of skeletal muscles, and training principles. Topics in the cardiovascular system include cardiac output, or the heart rate and stroke volume, blood flow distribution, and cardiorespiratory adaptations to training. Under the heading of the respiratory system include topics such as how the system regulates the exchange of gases, how ventilation increases rapidly at the onset of physical activity and is also a function of exercise intensity, and how training can alter the efficiency of the body to move and utilize oxygen. The variation in temperature and the response to physical activity includes topics such as the effects of exercise, the effects of acclimatization, and the effect of increased internal heat related to increased physical activity and its impact on the vasodilation of skin, blood vessels, and sweating. Nutritional intake and physical activity is another interesting topic in this area, with topics such as carbohydrate intake for optimal performance and health, protein intake for repairing and replacing damaged proteins, fluid intake for optimal performance and health, iron intake for optimal performance and health, and interdisciplinary research that blends exercise physiology with dietetics to both improve personal health and support high-level sport performance. In the area of physical activity, fitness, and health, topics such as the effects of age on fitness, physical activity, fitness, and coronary heart disease, physical activity and weight control, and the national recommendations for weekly physical activity are also studied. The body mass index is an important concept in this area. BMI equals the body mass in kilograms divided by the square of height in meters. The BMI assessment is easy and non-invasive. Elevated values are indicative of obesity-related disease risk. And a BMI of greater than 30 is classified as obese.